Yeah. It's your man, Surplus, man. Welcome back to another show of the plus side of things. We got a real goodie in store for y'all today, man. We're going to talk about the good guys versus the bad guys, the Russells versus the Futures. It's a lot of men versus women things going on the internet, all over the podcast, all of the think pieces that you see, all in your reels, your shorts, your Facebooks, your Instagrams, and pretty much there's been a whole lot of back and forth chat about the good guys finishing last and women settling or rather dating the guys who are considered like the futures. You know what I'm saying? So I got a young lady about to pull up, young lady by the name of India. You know what I'm saying? She want to try to stand in for the ladies and give us some insight from their point of view of good guys and bad guys. You know what I'm saying? So let me go ahead and bring India up. India, hey.
Hello. Hi.
Alrighty, India. Introduce yourself to the people. Let them know where they can follow you, where you're from, and things of that nature.
Well, I don't really be on social like that. I know it's very rare, but I do use my Instagram. It's India Irie. India spelled like India, Irie Airre. I'm 33. I work in education. I'm a teacher. Have been for the last decade. So that's my credentials.
No. Okay. Teacher, I see you. I know they be paying attention.
Ooh.
Right. So we're
And do.
gonna and I'm pretty sure. So yeah, like I was saying in the introduction, I met India on Instagram. In the comments, we were going back and forth about the good guys, bad guys, and I asked her like, "Hey, would you mind coming up on the show to speak about this?" And she was like, "Yeah." So here we are. You know what I'm saying? So good guys versus bad guys, the futures versus the Russells. Uh, let's see. Let's see where we're going to start. Okay, so have you yourself have you observed a trend where the good guys seem to finish last in relationships? And in your opinion, what defines a good guy? The Russells.
I haven't seen the trend. So I haven't seen it. I think I was in a long-term relationship for like 9 years, so I wasn't really on a dating scene for a while. I didn't really see a change for me personally. I didn't see a change until I moved into the inner city, and I think it also that plays a part in your upbringing. I'm from a suburb, predominantly white environment, and so the people around me, the men around me, white, black, whatever they look like, they mirrored to me to have like great quality of men. Not saying that the inner city doesn't. When I moved out to the inner city, I saw that the mannerisms were different, and I don't like the term good guy. Like anyone that has to call himself a good guy is not a good guy. Like you should be able to it should be able to like just be shown. You know what I'm saying? Like it's more of the action. I feel like if anyone says like, "Oh, I'm a good guy," that right there to me is a red flag. Like you don't have to say that. It's like a girl saying, "Oh, I'm a good girl, I'm innocent." It's like, no, you wouldn't have to say it because you would present yourself as such. But yeah, I mean, I've come across some Russells. I would come across some Futures. I mean,
and just to pretty much give the audience, you're from Minnesota, correct?
yes, I am from Minnesota. Yes.
Okay. Would you say your ex would fit in more of the future category or
No, I don't date Futures. I'll run into them occasionally for fun, like, but I date Wilsons. Like I date Russells. So I never was really into my parents are married. I think that plays a huge part. My parents are married for about 46 years. And so I think, and that's not very common in Black society. Like I don't even know any of my friends outside of my family that has, Black parents that are married. So I never really had to step into that like murky water of like testing it out. When I tested out, it was like for fun. I go home and tell my dad, "Oh, I met this guy." Me and my dad have a great relationship. He's my favorite parent. Sorry, Mom. I'm a daddy's girl. And so like I'll go home and my parents, like we have very, very open conversations. My parents are very progressive. And so like if I dated a future, it would just be like for fun because it's kind of more like the sense of a thrill, I guess. It gives you this, I don't know, it's something to some, I don't know. It just is thrilling. I think the quote unquote good boys, I hate that phrase, it's more like playing it safe. And I think like you said, I heard someone in my comments saying like, yeah, the girls go with the futures, and then they kind of go to the Wilsons after they've been ran through, he said, or whatever.
Uh-huh.
Um, which, I mean, there's some truth there.
Hmm. Yeah, that seems to be the case. A lot of guys, I guess that's where the whole stepfather thing comes into play, where women will have babies by guys who would be considered the futures, and they get ran through or done bad, or the woman stay with them to the point to where she can't even take it no more, and then she goes to look for more of a good guy, Russell type of guy,
Hmm.
pick up
Yeah.
things of that nature. So, what are your thoughts on the perception of bad boys always seeming to get the girl?
Well, let me just take a step back too, because you skipped over something that's very important. Because a
Okay.
lot of men always say that like women get ran through, and then they have their bad boy era, and they go with these good guys. But it happens on both sides of the spectrum. Men date futures too. They date women that are like that are very, eccentric and are like that. The only difference between men and women is we have the scars to prove it, and the only scars that we have are children. So we
Okay.
walk away from a situation where as children, men walk away with their, I don't know if I can say swear words, like their dick in hand and pride. Women walk away with children. And so us literally the only difference, because if men had to wear that that badge as well, the playing field would be even, but we can't tell. And so a
I
lot of
think.
times when it comes to
I'm
those
sorry.
future,
Go ahead.
yeah, go ahead, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. Go ahead. No, I was going to say. I think when marriage come into play, it kind of levels thing out, being that um, women usually initiate the divorce and they end up with half of this guy's things that he's worked for, assets and things of that nature.
Yeah, but okay, so if we're gonna go down that path also. I want to throw another stat out there that people fail to realize is that
Hmm.
when women initiate divorce, the percentage of women to get remarried is very slim. The percentage of men to get remarried, they said most men after their first divorce, within 6 months, if she divorces him or she dies, he is married within 6 months again. And the success of that marriage is 30%. And then when they get married again for the third time, it drops, I think, like to 85%. So you got to look at that as well. So even if women are divorcing men and they're taking half of the money that they claim that they have or whatever they're taking, men are initially going out here to get remarried again, which tells me if men have to have one, two, three wives, his behavior hasn't changed. He's carrying the same baggage that he's carried from the beginning to the end. Now, if this man was to marry this woman, she took him from everything he had and he got into a second marriage and was successful, then I can look at it and say, okay, well, those two people did not work out. There was a
Hmm.
chemical imbalance. There was something that didn't work out between these people. Biology didn't work out. But if men are really that afraid of their assets being taken, then why are they pursuing marriage for the second and third time? Because that's what the stats show.
That's very true. Very true. Good point. I can't answer that. I've never been married before, but I would assume if I had to, um, maybe some guys there are. I would say not guys, people out there that just don't like being alone or don't know how to be alone or always feel that they have to be with somebody. And 6 months is rather fast, I would say. Um, that would make me think that that person was in the picture all along, kind of, sort of. I mean, there
No,
is some
that wasn't the
exceptions.
case with the statistics. That wasn't the case. It's just man, they progress faster. Like it wasn't that the women were in the picture already. It wasn't that he was cheating. It was just they just move fast. And you think about
Hmm.
people, women, homekeeping. With laundry, dishes, food, whatever. A lot of men, that's their livelihood too. So if he doesn't have a wife at home to do that, they second marriage happens literally within, like they said, the first year.
Okay. Yeah,
And
that's
those women that are
interesting.
divorced, and the women that are divorced, those men are not getting married again.
Yeah, they be embracing their freedom, I guess you could say, after the marriage, which is understandable. Divorces, I imagine, aren't easy and do take a toll on a person, especially emotionally. So I could see women taking a step back and just figuring things out and getting back to themselves before jumping back out there.
This is not me bashing men And this is not me, like this is not what I'm doing. And I think both
Okay.
parties need to heal. I just always hear of women healing more than I hear of men. I hear women retreats. I've gone to women
Yeah.
retreats where I hear women that are divorced or single or whatever the case might be. I never hear about a man's retreat. More than time men's having retreats are going to Vegas and having sex. It's always based around those things, but it's never based around like healing the trauma that they have from childhood or whatever the case might be.
Yeah, I would say it is a common thing. Men tend to immediately go find a rebound or rebounds, to get over their past relationship. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it just keeps them on that hamster wheel, going in the same, predicament over and over again. In your experience, do you think women tend to be drawn to specific traits in men? Um,
Yes.
okay, like
Yes.
like what?
Assertiveness,
Mm-hmm.
leadership, power. I think power is number one. No one wants their man to walk in the room and he's a little homie. Like that right there. I mean, men have egos. Women, like, we feel that too.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the sense of providing, emotional intelligence. Um, I mean, the list goes on. I mean,
Right,
it's a length list.
right.
And a lot
Do
of
you
times,
think?
a lot of
I'm
times, the
sorry.
good guys don't. The good guys a lot of times don't possess those traits. They don't show up in the way that they show up in the bad boys. Those traits
Like
look different.
assertiveness.
The assertiveness is more along the lines of it's questionable. It's like, hey, I was thinking we should do this thing. What do you feel about this thing? And most women are like, I just want you just to solve it. And some men that are the bad boys, like, hey, I got you this thing, or we're going on this date, get dressed, be out the house. And so it's literally the same thing, but it just shows different and a different caliber of a man.
I agree. I agree. I would say, I mean, yeah, like the bad boys or the guy. Well, speaking of bad boys, most women tend to have, as far as the traits and things of that nature, like the things you listed, they would automatically, I guess, equate that to being traits of like the futures and things of that nature. Guys who got the financial stability, they a lot of women, from what I see, they pretty much have like all of the same qualities that they look for. And you got to be tall, got to have a beard, got to have like six figures. Um, like you said, assertiveness, or what women would deem today as applying pressure. Um,
Yeah.
and and I think where the good guys, where they come up short is, I guess they try to romance their way into a woman's heart. Um, and a lot of women, they kind of look down on that. Do you think? Or kind of are, um, I don't know, kind of apprehensive to
Um,
that approach.
I wouldn't say it's a romancing aspect. I think just how women are attracted to the futures, a lot of men are attracted to beautiful women. And what I feel like, men are conquerors. I don't care if
Mm-hmm.
you are a Russell, I don't care if you're a future. Men like to conquer. And I think that men want to take a woman, a free roaming woman, a beautiful woman, and find a way to conquer her. And I think
Mm-hmm.
with the Russells, he's going after, like they said, the top 10% of men. He's going after the same top 10% of women. He's going after the
Mm-hmm.
same woman that the bad boys are going after. And so when you have a woman that has all the options available to her, and like you said, it displays, it looks different, the attributes look different, she's going to go to the futures. And those men that are Russells are left feeling like most men in the comments, hurt, embarrassed, ashamed, or ha ha, he got you, or don't come back over here, kind of feeling.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so he's left hurt, and he's left trying to figure out, like, oh, there's no good women out here. Well, and honestly, I just think people just need to date in their means. Like,
That's true. That's true. Speaking of the top 10%, I feel like when it comes to women, I guess you could say general consensus of women all having the same idea of what their ideal guy is, being that it's only a few of them guys available. I think of it like say you're in your car, you driving and it's backed up traffic, is construction up ahead and maybe a 3-4 lane roadway, and then they narrow it down to one lane and everybody has to kind of fall in line to get in that one lane. I feel like that's what all of these women are doing. There's so many of them. It's such a narrow space for them to get one of those guys that they pretty much are just stuck in bumper to bumper traffic, waiting on that one guy to come rescue them. And on the flip side, those futures, they got so many options out there. They could pick 3, 4, 5, 7 of y'all if you're the lucky one to get through that traffic. You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
it's just wild that nobody it seems to consider that maybe the guys that you're leaving on red in the DMs, the guys who aren't as, I don't know, boisterous or bad boyish or whatever, are just waiting in the wing for somebody to notice them, and be that guy that they really want. He may have all of the qualities you may want, but he may not look the way you want him to look, or he may not have the money you want him to have. He may not have the big house. He can't take you on extravagant vacations and buy you things at will. But they are one of those guys that would definitely take your hand in marriage per se. You know what I'm saying? And give you the house with the picket fence and the kids and things of that nature. I don't know. I guess a lot of people just don't have the patience. I would say they want people to come ready made. As far as the women, well, guys looking at the beautiful women, I guess you could say the BBL women, things of that nature. From my experience, I would say they're fun to look at. And I guess for research purposes, guys may even sleep with them. But at the same time, I don't think that those are the type of women that guys are really seeking to make wives and things of that nature. I mean, it happens on occasion. Even Superhead got married, I believe, or something like that. But
Mm-hmm.
it was very short lived. And I don't know, it's just weird out here right now in the dating market. And I guess on both sides of the coin, it's real shaky for both men
It's
and women.
it's hard for men. This is where the challenge comes into. It's hard. See, men always say that analogy: the 10%, or you're waiting in line, or you might not get picked, or you could get picked. The thing is that certain women, I'll use myself. We have access to certain like those type of men, right? Say I have
Mm-hmm.
access to those men, whether
Okay.
he's sleeping with me, whether it's courtship, whatever the case might be. I'm in his circle. Like I'm in the present. I see what's going on. I've been in his house. I see how he lives. I see how he moves around. Like I see this lifestyle. And then to go back to something, or to see something else that is like that you're not desiring. I don't care how many people can be in your inbox. I don't care how much they can match your values. You can't force someone to have interest in someone just because of those qualities or those traits. Like there
Very
has to
true.
be something more there. And so like it's men always say that, like, and then they say like, oh yeah, we don't really like BBLs, we don't really care, we'll sleep with them, which is not true, because you gotta understand, on as women, as the person that's closest to other women that have BBLs, we see how they're moving in life.
Mm-hmm.
Even if, because you gotta say, like, people always say, oh, we don't marry those women that have BBLs. I don't think a lot of women's goals right now is not to get married. It's just to
Okay.
be claimed. It's just to be slept with. It's just to have close proximity to those type of people. I think that right there is really the goal. Is more or less, I can take a picture with this dude in his bed, or I can get a baby. Not saying all women. I will never say that all women are doing this. I'm just saying there's a certain caliber of women. They're like, I don't care for the marriage part. Like, I don't want this man to marry me. Like, I want the benefits of that he's providing to me.
Right.
So I look at it that way. And then on top of that, you talk about Superhead got married. You talk about Amber Rose, she got a baby, got the deal. Black China got a baby, got the deal. Kim K ended up with a billionaire, and he's black. Um, Kylie, she ended up with a baby out with a black man. Like, so we talk about these women having these BBLs and these bodies, but in reality, either they're getting married, they're getting a check, they have a kid, they have something to show for it. So in reality,
Okay.
man keeps saying that women with the BBLs are not, they're only good to sleep with, but you shouldn't be putting your penis in anything that is not suitable for you. I don't care how
Okay.
good it looks. You get what I'm saying? So then, like,
Hmm.
it's contradictory. It's contradictory for the man to keep saying that, and it's a slap in the woman's face because we see it. Like, we
Hmm.
see it real life. I don't care how many podcasts I watch and man keeps saying they're fun to sleep with. They're getting something out of it. A car, a house, money.
Hmm.
And I'm not saying like that's. I'm just not saying for me. I'm just putting it out there as a general statement because there's a caliber of women that are doing different things. But I'm just speaking from that perspective.
Do you think the guys who are providing this lifestyle may be muddying the waters for all of the rest of the men out available men out here in the dating market?
Yep. I think
Yeah.
I think they're muddying the waters. I think the other men are not holding those men accountable. And we were talking about this in my comments. I don't know if you know. I think his name is Tim Ross and Priscilla. I don't know if you know who they are, but they on TikTok. They have this amazing podcast. They are talking about um this kind of segment right here. But in reality, you need man to hold man accountable. Women are That's not women's job. We're not supposed to hold men accountable. That's not what we do. Men have a pecking order. They have a pecking system and men need to hold men accountable. And it's the same way, like for example, like say you with your bros and one of your bros laughed at somebody that was disabled. But then
Hmm.
the homie that's like the big homie's like, nah, man, like we don't laugh at stuff like that. Like we don't do that. And guess what happens? Those little homies, they get an order because they look up to the guy that's in their face, the one they look at as like their big brother or they uncle, whatever. And like, yeah, you're right. It's the same thing on these podcasts. No one holds Future accountable. No one sitting there's never a panel of men to sit back and say what Future did was foul.
Right.
Because men are too afraid. I feel like men are afraid to call certain men of a certain caliber out because they want to be in the in group. I think there's a spoken bond between men that they don't want to. Like, you don't call out other men. You don't do it in front of women. Like I think y'all have an unspoken bond where y'all handle that like behind closed doors.
Yeah.
But that is not solving anything because people like Futures keep making more babies. And
Yeah.
not saying that's on Future's fault. I'm saying, I mean,
Hmm.
after the second baby mama, I think any woman that has a child with a man after having two kids, you know what you signed up for. Like you kind of
Hmm.
know he already has multiple kids. Like now this is on you. But at what point do men call men out? And what point do men hold men accountable? Like,
I agree. I think that is something that we could implement, but with men, you have that whole the whole factor of ego that comes into play, where men of a certain caliber are going to look at the guys who may not be of their caliber and like, who you think you're talking to, like me listen to you type of ordeal. I see that working more on the women's side than the men's side. Yeah, we can call guys out like, man, why y'all doing? But then they're going to call us simps and all the Captain Save a Hole and type of things of that nature. That's going to come into play. With women, I think if more women stood up and said, because where the confusion comes in that is there are really good women out here that would make really great suitable wives and girlfriends of that nature, but they take on, I guess, the same qualities or mindsets as the women who are out here just for the fun and what they can get out of a man and things of that nature. They stand so close to them, we kind of sort of can't tell them apart in a way, if that makes sense.
mm,
And I think if more of those women spoke out against, I guess you could say like the Cardis, the Lottos, and things of that nature, and or the women who seem to prey on men with money or seem to have some type of lifestyle that they could possibly wiggle their way into, that things would change. It would make on both sides. It would make that lifestyle kind of played out, I guess you could say. But I feel like as long as dudes is doing for women, women are going to keep going. The guys is doing for women, and it's I don't know what would be a super effective way of changing that.
Well, how
But yeah,
well how is it that women can sit next to each other and men can't decipher whether or not she's a hoe or not, but then men look at us and say we should be able to tell the difference between Future and Russell? That's a double standard.
yeah,
It's
it
completely
is.
it's completely
It
a double
is.
standard because you telling me that two women sitting next to each other, you can't tell them apart. You can't tell who is who. So then, but then you put the onus on us to say you should have known better. You should be able to see the difference between the two men, but you should be able to see the difference between the two women. You should know who's a hoe and who's a wife.
I
But the
guess
thing is
it
that
comes
men
down to the
men don't have
behavior.
the
Mhm.
qualities. The men are not being raised by men. They're being
Facts.
raised by their homies. They've been raised by the blog. They've been raised by videos. They've been raised by a lot of different things. And so they're taking all those smidges of little pieces that they learn and they're trying to implement them into being a man. And that's not what a man is.
That's
and
a
that
fact.
and that right there and to me that right there is more damaging than anything. And then you have women that don't know how to be women. They just know how to move in a space of the opposite sex. We was
Hmm.
like we was taught how to move through the space and how to and like with birds, they make their feathers pretty and fluffy so they can attract the the strongest bird. Women do the same thing. Sometimes we don't know how to carry ourselves as a lady, but we can look the part. We
Uh-huh.
can have our hair done or we can have our body looking nice. We go to the gym, like our exterior, we work on our exterior a lot. And then but our,
Uh-huh.
our inners is really messed up. And then it's vice versa for men. I feel like a lot of men are not in shape. I feel like a lot of men don't care about their health, but I feel like because I got money that should exonerate me from doing
Suffice.
everything else.
Right. Right. Yeah, man. It's wicked on both ends of the spectrum, man. If you were to give any advice to the good guys and the good girls, how would you go about it as far as being able to
Just
successfully pursue someone and sustain a healthy relationship?
I mean, but I don't know. I can't give any advice, but what I did was I changed my circle. Um,
Hmm.
I ended up being around like-minded people. So then when I started making those choices and dating those men, that I had people that were there to empower my choices versus laugh at my choices, and they wouldn't call someone like that a simp or use terms like that to describe a man. Um, and date within your caliber, like date
Hmm.
with someone that genuinely likes you. Um, and he finds interest in you and you find interest in him and something that you can grow and flourish in. Like just change your circle, change your perspective, move different. You don't have to
Okay.
hold on to people, like I don't know what I would say. That question is kind of loaded.
I understand. You think like for instance, you said you had to change your circle. You think your homegirls could kind of hold you back from that? Or is it kind of like what would they call like where pretty much it's kind of like same brain within a friend group. Everybody try to move on the same wavelength type of thing to where they don't want to seem like they're doing something whack considered whack by the friend group type of thing when it comes to pursuing somebody that they're interested in? Or do you think that that could be like a roadblock for them?
Um, I don't see that. I don't see that. Honestly, that trait doesn't show in women. I think women are more likely to stay on 10 toes. Like we like
Hmm.
to brag, we like to boast about the men we got, whether he's a cornball, a nerd, or we like to boast. I think that actually shows in men more than women. And that's why a lot of
Yeah,
these like podcasts, you have men holding balloons and women walk out and he's popping the balloon and his homeboys are popping the balloon too. I think men date based off of their homeboy's preference. And I know I'm saying this from experience because I'm dark skinned. I live
hmm.
in Minnesota. I know I have people talk to me like, "Oh man, you're beautiful, you're gorgeous," but I don't know. I don't know how I don't know how people gonna feel. Like, what you mean? Like, I've seen it real life where men really like something, they have an interest in something, but they know the retaliation they would get from their friend group is gonna be something negative. So they date based off of how they friends would view you. I think men have more of that mindset of like and that's a lot of times you see a friend group of guys, their girlfriends all look somewhat similar. Also, no one wants to have a girl that has the smallest butt. Like no one wants to have the girl that's the darkest. No one like and but for women, you can have a fat dude, you can have a dude that's 5'10", you can have a dude that's 6'2", you can have a chubby dude, you can have a dude with glasses, and we stand 10 toes by the guy we choose. But then he make her look stupid, and then that's when we get crazy.
That's interesting. I never thought about that before. Guys date women who are accepted by their homeboys. That's interesting. I mean, I do recall instances where I may have asked my brothers or my homies, like, what you think of anything like that. But I don't recall having any kind of, I guess you could say, colorism. Um,
Mm. Subconsciously, I don't think it's the intention, but it's the impact. I think like when y'all on y'all phones, like, man, bro, ain't she bad? She just scroll through her pictures to get validation. Oh, she
mhm.
bad. Ooh. Like women don't do that. We might do that with like some futures, like, oh, look at his six pack, whatever, whatever. But most men are not coming like that. Most men are not in shape. Most men are not looking. So we don't boast in that way of like showing pictures out to our friends. It's like, oh, girl, you took me to this restaurant, or oh, girl, we did this day. We had this romantic date. Or oh, girl, he got me this necklace. So it's more or less those materialistic things, and men go off of the physical things. And so I personally think that men do. If your homie right now, you had a girl on your phone, say she was a 7, and you liked her, she was bad, and you showed your homies, and they start cracking on her heavy, it's gonna make you feel some type of way. You probably won't bring
Yeah.
her around. You probably move on because like, damn, they cracked on her, and you're like, dang, she ain't really a 7, no, she more like a 4 now, because now he has changed your perspective of how you feel about her.
Or we'll still mess with you, but we just won't tell nobody type of.
On the low, exactly. So I think men are like that. I think men are more men are more impacted by peer pressure than women are.
So, how can someone strike a balance between being genuine and kind while also being assertive and confident in their approach to dating and relationships? Because I say that it's like if you give too much of either or, people will start judging you or start thinking certain type of things about you, even if it's not necessarily true, just off of how they perceive you. Is there a balance that people can, I guess, kind of waver in that little gray area without stepping over the line too much in either direction?
Um, I think everybody's in the gray area. You just got to find out who's. It depends on everything. Is a spectrum. I don't think nothing is balanced. I think everything is about spectrum, and I think that you got to find people that are on the same wavelength that you are on. You on this part of the spectrum, find people on this part of the spectrum. And I said, I
Mhm.
think it's really community. I think it's community. I think it's friendships. I think it's those things that are taking a toll on. Wow, I think that that's taking a toll on relationships when people are like afraid to date or afraid to pursue someone because of their inner circle, their community, and social media. So I don't know if there's really a balance. I can't even speak on that.
I
I feel like
understand.
I have a decent balance. I don't know.
Yeah, you're a teacher, you're pretty, you did up, you know what I'm saying? And
But that's
I guess certain guys may look at you and feel kind of intimidated by you and your friend group, being that you're the pretty girls. He might feel like you're out his league, or if he try to approach you, you shoot him down and reject them and things of that nature. I think that kind of plays on both parts because you have women who may like guys who may be the popular guy, got the huge friend group. He's well known in the city type of thing. And if they try to approach him or show any kind of interest, they may feel like he may overlook them because he has so many options. So I think it kind of plays a part on both ends of the spectrum. Um, I had mentioned before when we were speaking, um, I really want to see going into the new year we get back to love, like for real. Not on no Diddy shit, but get back to love for real. Like the whole men versus women war, I think it's went on a little too long for my liking.
me
I
too.
do like that the conversations are being had. Um, perspectives from the men are being put out there on Front Street, and perspectives from the women are being put out there on Front Street. We're seeing the differences and the flaws and the faults on both ends, and it seems like that's what everybody is concentrating on versus what are you doing right? You know what I'm saying? I feel like if we focus more on that going into 2024 and beyond, as a people as a whole, I think it'll bring a whole lot of healing to both men and women, especially in our communities, because it seems like it's only us that's pointing the fingers and fighting and bickering back and forth. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do too. I don't care for the conversation or the topic. I was even hesitant today to do it with you, but like I'm over it. Like you're
Mm-hmm.
gonna always be able to bicker and nitpick over these conversations. You're gonna always be
Mm-hmm.
able to point fingers and point blame. Um, and that's and we are wasting time. Like we're wasting time doing this while other people are building an economic. Like it's just we could be doing so much with our time, so much. And I mean, as a person, as an educator, I look at history and I look at what our ancestors have been through, or our great grandparents or our grandparents been through. I'm like, and so this is what we decided to have a conversation about. Um, but then again, I have to take a breath and think like, you know what? The conversation needs to be had,
Yes.
but the conversation doesn't need to be had by everybody. I don't think that everybody should have an input on the conversation. Like I think you have people from different races having an input. You have people that are not healed. I think the harm that's being caused is people on podcasts that have not done any healing having this conversation, because now you have a bias. You have a
Mm-hmm.
bias in this conversation, and your goal is not to get to a point of liberation. It's not to get to a point of love, not to get to a point of unity. It's to bash because you are still a broken person. And you can tell from the podcast that you watch or the people speaking on them to say, oh, this person hasn't healed, this person hasn't done any self-care or self-love. I think in going to 2024, it should be self-care and self-love. Learn how to love yourself, learn how to take care of yourself, and learn how to be alone. Once you learn how to be alone, you would never, ever, ever make any more poor decisions based off of you being lonely. You would
Right.
never do that. So now you have integrity in the picture, because now it's like, if I have solace in myself, I have love in myself, I have self-care in myself, and I have all these things figured out. I can look at you, and when you come into my life, I can see how your vibration bothers mine. And that's where I'm at in
Mm-hmm.
my life. I've been here for a while. I'm so good at it now. I can talk to a guy within an hour and know if his vibration ruffles me, I'm out. If I
Right.
can't sit at an even plateau and feel feminine and feel a sense of comfort, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gone. I'll walk away, because I've done the work. I have a therapist. I have self care. I've done these things, and a lot of men feel like they can just skate on through in life and not get the help they need. A lot of women think because they're women, they got a good cat, they can skate in life and not get the help they need. Please seek help, whether it's a therapist or not, meditation, anything. But these
Mm-hmm.
conversations need to stop from people that are broken. We need to
Mm-hmm.
get to a point of having like, as an educator, we don't have conversations unless the goal is to have resolution.
That's
And
a
at this
fact.
point, we don't have any resolution. People are just talking. They're going out here buying mics. Even me, I'm on a podcast right now, so it's like the pot calling the kettle black. But like in my mind, I have a sense of resolution. I'm not
Mm-hmm.
coming from a broken place. I know love. My sisters and brothers are married. My parents are married. My grandma's married. My great grandmother's married. Like I've been around marriage my entire life. I know what it looks like. I know what it feels like to have joy and comfort. I know what it looks like to have conflict versus confrontation. People don't know the difference between those two. So, like,
Right.
I just think going into 2024, I know I'm renting, but going into 2024, I think people just need to find self love and self care, and take like a year or something, 6 months, even if it's a long time, and just heal yourself.
Yes. Patience would definitely be needed for that. I think that's what's I guess the heaviest thing. That's like a ball and chain around a lot of people's ankles. They don't have the patience, or they may feel that
Discipline.
low about themselves that they may not feel that they can come out that rut, or they may only feel like they can get a certain type of person or can go a certain type of um, I guess, a certain type of stature of person. You got guys who feel like maybe they can't get nobody outside of chicks that's hood and ratchet and things like that. You got women who think they can't get anybody but dudes that's dogs and gonna mess around behind their back and things of that nature. And I think people have been running in circles for so long that they've become accustomed to the pain and the trauma and things, and that's where their comfort is. So yeah, definitely, I think people definitely need to take self care, meditate, go seek a therapist and things of that nature. Like you said, most definitely, a lot of people kind of turn their nose up or shy away from going to speak with someone about their past traumas and things of that nature because that mirror when it's held up in front of a lot of people is scary, you know, and it may be just too much to bear for some people.
Yeah.
I do applaud you for, what I'm saying, taking the steps and the initiative, you know what I mean, to get yourself right for your man. You know what I'm saying? That's really dope. I wish more men and women would do that versus staying in that, I guess, that confusion and just getting online and bickering back and forth with people and putting their own personal situations into the conversation and things of that nature. So
Yeah.
definitely, yeah, that's really dope. I hope people who are watching this, especially females, take that those words from you and apply them to their lives and trying to better themselves, regardless if they have multiple babies or failed marriages and things of that nature. Because life goes on. You can't just
Anybody benefits from therapy. You can have no kids. You can Anybody benefits from it. You don't even have to have childhood trauma. You don't have to have adulthood trauma. Just to have a sounding board, just to have someone to vent to bounce an
Mhm,
idea off of, or anything. You don't even have to come in with a bunch of baggage. It's for
mhm.
anybody, and I wish in our community we just need to just really embrace it. Um, and look, I mean, find some black therapists. I know in the pandemic it was free sessions for black
Mhm.
therapists in the pandemic. I don't know if that's still going on now, but like it's there. We got the internet. Instead of using your fingers to come for me in the comments, please use your fingers to to look
I
up
doubt it.
some help, please, because I already know they're gonna be dragging me in these comments.
No, I think you've been on point this whole conversation. You made some really key points that I think a lot of people can take some real good from for real. Like it's wow. I think people definitely need to stop thinking that there is no way out of the rut. Um, it's
Yeah.
wild because so many of us are broken from whether it be from our parents or things that happened to us when we were young or things that's happened in our adult life. And some people don't really know how to cope with those things or haven't internalized them and dealt with them and really sat with those things. And a lot of people don't even think it's them. They think it's everybody else that got the problem, which is another bad thing, I would say.
My dad always told me this. He told me he says, if you have a negative experience with three people, you are the common denominator. He says you need to get yourself checked. And I always remember that. I don't know why, but I'll date a guy, or I might have three, a homegirl and a homegirl and a homegirl. And if I fell out with her and fell out with her after like friend two, I had to look at myself because at that point I'm bringing something into this environment where the outcome is the same. So if you
Yes.
keep having the same outcome, you are literally, I don't say you're the problem, but you need some corrective measures. And I want to just say this about therapy, is that therapy don't solve your problems. Therapy is like a toolbox.
Mm-hmm.
Therapy, it gives you tools and lets you know when and how and where to use these tools. So then when you're in a situation that harm is going to come or trauma or something like that, because we're not exempt from having these things happen to us in life, that we know how to move in that space with the right tool that was given to us.
Right.
And that's where we are right now. Like and that's what it does for me, and I hope that it does that for somebody else. And maybe it doesn't, maybe therapy is not for you, but maybe you just find your thing, meditation. And all I'm saying, this is from a place of love. Like, I'm not saying this from a place of anger or hate or malice. Like, I would never do that. I want my people to thrive.
Right.
um and I mean, if I have some resources, I'll I'll share them. But like, I don't know what else to say. Like, this topic is, it just needs, in 2024, I really don't want to hear any more about it. If we're not uplifting our kings and queens, and we're not trying to find resolution and trying to move forward or building um back our community, I don't really want to hear.
Right. I mean, this could definitely be a stepping stone in the right direction.
Yes.
They're kind of trying to turn the tides. Instead of doing this pointing back and forth, just sitting down and letting cooler heads prevail. We've heard everybody's argument from both sides. It's like, okay, so where do we go from here? Okay, we don't like this about y'all. We don't like this about y'all. We prefer you do these type of things. We prefer you do these type of things. So where is the middle ground? And can we come to some sort of union to where there is unity and love among Black men and women, um, all races, but especially our people? Like I said, I only really see it, the bulk of the argument coming from us, pretty much. Um, I really think it's time, man. I hope this is something that'll spearhead that conversation going forward. Um, I definitely would like, if you are up to it, what I mean, coming back up. Next time we may have a panel of people, what I'm saying,
Yeah.
to give some insight and things of that nature. I think that'd be real dope. Um, you're really, really insightful, really intelligent woman. That's really
Oh,
what's up.
thank you.
Real.
It was nice
Whatever.
talking to you too. I like how we didn't have to like over talk each other, or like,
Yes.
I apologize for cutting you off sometimes, but sometimes the thought comes here and I gotta get it out. But I like that you were able to listen. I listened to you as well.
Yes.
This is how a healthy debate happens.
Right. Really refreshing, right? Like I said,
Yeah.
I didn't want to argue with you. I didn't want to debate. I just wanted this to be a cool, level-headed conversation, and
Mhm.
and, and just man and woman trying to get to some kind of understanding. I think that's really dope and really needed these days. I can't stress that enough, for real. You know what I'm saying? But I do appreciate you pulling up. I know you got to get going and things. I don't want to keep you from
Mhm.
your evening and things of that nature. This is very, very dope. I can't wait to see the feedback from this conversation. I think it's
Whew.
going to be a lot
Don't
of. I think it's going to be
don't
cool.
tag me in it. They for the drag. Don't tag me. I don't need that in my life right now. Listen, I'm healthy right now. Don't tag me.
I think
I'm
if
just.
anything, people are going to be hitting you up for those resources of who and where to look for some type of help
Mhm.
or guidance and things of that nature versus anything negative. I mean, there's negative. It's the internet, but I
Well, I got
doubt
three
it'll be.
sisters that are therapists, so I got three
Wow,
sisters
your
that are
family is
therapists.
lit.
One's a doctor and one's a nurse, so we can get some resources lined up.
Your family is lit. You got a teacher, a doctor, a nurse, and your parents been together for mad long. It's like the
We got
Huxtables
two
over
therapists. Two therapists. Don't
there.
forget.
Two therapists. Yeah, y'all definitely
Mhm.
like the Huxtables over there. That's what's up. We don't really
I
see that
wish.
too
I'm
much.
poor. Teachers don't make that much money.
I think that's a country up nationwide pretty much at this point. But definitely, I think definitely thank you for this healthy conversation. I really, really appreciate you pulling up. I definitely will be contacting you again for further conversations and things of that nature. You wanna give the people where to follow you or things of that nature again before you leave?
I can give it to you one more again. It's
Okay.
India, INDIA. I want to say it's underscore or like a period. Dot AIRE.
Alrighty, there
And
it
that's
is,
my
y'all.
Insta. So, yep. Y'all have a good night, or wherever you at around the world. Have a good evening. Have a good night. Have a good morning.
That's true. All righty, man. So I'm gonna drop you backstage. So just hang around. I'm gonna talk to you in a bit. All right.
Okay.
Okay. All righty, guys, man. Thank you guys for pulling up, man, to the plus side of things. As you can see, there is some sort of hope for our people going forward, man. We just got to stop the bickering back and forth. We got to stop the finger pointing. We got to stop the arguing because it's really not doing nothing but keeping us running in place like we on the treadmill for real. You know what I'm saying? So definitely make sure you guys hit that like button, hit the subscribe, hit the bell notification. If you like this conversation and you want to hear more content like this or see more content like this, definitely let me know in the comments, and we'll definitely get some more like this going. I'm pretty much going to do it anyway, but I definitely need y'all input. It'll be very helpful going forward. You know what I'm saying? So you guys be cool how you be cool, and I'll catch you guys on the next show, the plus side of things. And I got a new thing, so y'all not just my viewers and stuff. I'm calling y'all my plus ones. It's the plus side of things. I'm Sir Plus, and y'all my plus ones. Welcome to the party. Subscribe, y'all, and y'all be cool. Y'all be cool. Peace.